Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dutsy Gaming and the next installment of the Mageblood hunt. Now, I did mention in the last video I was probably going to buy a Headhunter with the currency that I'd farmed so far, and then go and try some Legion Dunes because it's not something I've done this league and it looks like fun. I just wasn't sure on what the returns would be, but they were way better than I expected. I'm not going to go into strategy in too much detail because Grimro covers it in real detail in his video on his channel, so I'd recommend going over there and checking out the strategy if it's something that you want to do. But you do need a pretty strong character with decent clear speed to be able to do the strategy. So I'm still on the 50 divine tornado shot character, and I've just bought a headhunter with the current sale farm so far. And then when we get closer to a Mageblood, we'll sell it again when we're closer to be able to buy the belt. I probably will lose money on the headhunter because it's probably just going to start going down and down as the league kind of gets older. I think I paid 95 divines for it, and it's about that at the moment. It's a pretty well rolled headhunter. So let's go through what I've chosen as strategy. And really, I just wanted something that was fun. A lot of what I was doing was kind of generic Alk and Go, not particularly exciting, been done lots of times before by myself. This is something I haven't done really for quite a while, so I thought I would give it a go, and it was real fun. So let's just have a look at the loot first off in the time. So we're at 37 hours. I think I was at 36 when I finished the Legion farm, and then I had a few 5-way sets left, so I'll just use those to get my character up to 99 because he was quite close. And then I tried a simulacrum, got to about wave 24, didn't really like it, so won't be doing it anymore. I think you would make money, but I can't get to wave 30 guaranteed with this build. There just seems to not be many rare monsters in simulacrum, so you don't get a huge amount of headhunter buffs like you would in like, a Legion map or a 5-way or something like that. So let's look at the currency that we've got. So obviously I have my headhunter, and if we go into excellence next, I've got just under 69 divines worth of loot. Based on this, there's some stuff that's not going to be worth anything that's valued in here, like some incubators that no one's going to buy. But then obviously other things, as I mentioned before, are undervalued. So overall, it's probably about right. Got 41 raw divines and nearly 2,000 chaos. And then lots of currency incubators. They've still got lots of emblems that we need to sell. But in terms of Legion, I did 45 maps. So I ended up buying the compass for 15 uses it gives Legion. It was a bit more expensive, but it just saves me trading. So in terms of running the strategy, I was using a gilded Legion scarab, a polished harbinger scarab, and then just a cartography scarab, and then a sacrifice fragment, and then we're putting the map in, and then we're doing also harbinger on the map device. Halfway through, I decided that harbinger was slowing me down and wasn't massively profitable, so I swapped it for strong boxes, used a strongbox scarab, didn't need to then get Legion on the map device. I also then took some Nico nodes so that I can get the Nico speed buffs and get some Azurite. The main reason I took the Nico nodes is you complete all the map first and then you loot it, and having a ton of extra movement speed from the Nico nodes just makes it quicker to loot the map. They were quite long to run. I think it was 7.5 minutes with the Harbinger setup, and then between 6.5 to 7 minutes when I had the strong boxes. Didn't get any lucky drops from strong boxes, but didn't do too bad in terms of loot. We did get a lot of scarabs out of it, some currency and things like that, but I don't think it was as profitable as Harbinger. As I say, I'm not going to go through the strategy because I've probably ran it not as well as Grimro did. I tried to do my own twist on it, and I'm not sure whether it was any better or worse. But I'll run you through the tree that I ended up with, which is the strongbox tree. So let's look over my passive tree. So I've taken a few map nodes. I really don't need many because I'm spitting out maps anyway with 4 void stones. We've taken the blockers on this side, and then we've gone strongboxes, essences, seer and exile, gone the top hat, and then we've just taken the Legion and strongbox nodes. The only nodes I'm not taking are these because I'm forcing generals into the map with the gilded scarab anyway. And then, like I said, I've just added these Nico nodes because they are decent. You do end up with quite a lot of Azurite when you're getting through the maps. And then this really helps the 45% movement speed for when you're backtracking and looting the map. Now, in terms of loot, I've sold the majority of it because you fill up your quad tabs fast. Every map I had to leave and dump stuff because I just had too much loot. I was probably getting like an inventory and a quarter per map, and it's all stuff that's good and that will sell, so I did need to pick it up. In terms of loot, before I sold off all of the loot, I just recorded what I had in terms of emblems. So I did 45 maps, all with the Legion compass. We had 30 Crew emblems, 25 Baal, 38 Eternal, 21 Templar, and 16 Maraketh. So I sold majority of the full sets. You can sell these super easy in TFT. So I'll just quickly go in and show here. You can either sell them yourself in bulk, want to sell sets, and you set the price that you want, and see if people, purchase them. They're going to be better value if people will buy them, but a lot of them I've been scrolling through just don't sell. So what I did, which I may be losing a bit of money on, is there are also bulk want to buy. So if you go down to sets, then people will put here what they want to pay. So here we've got 5-way Legion sets, 1 divine for 3 sets. So I sold 12 full sets for 4 divines, and then I ran the rest that I had just to see what they were like profit-wise. They weren't too bad, but it's not something I would try. But it was mainly just to get my character leveled up to 99. So the issue I've got is that you're then left with a lot of emblems that you can't really use. You can sell them in bulk, but they don't sell that easily when you haven't got full sets. So you do end up with a lot of spare emblems. However, the Karui, the Eternal, and the Val ones are basically worthless anyway. They're like 3 to 4C. Where Legion really makes you money is the incubators that you get. So what I was focusing on was Diviner incubators when I had them, and they essentially drop stack decks, and you only have to kill 4,500 monsters to get them. So around every 2 maps, these would proc, and I would have them in all of my pieces, so 10 of them. If I didn't have Diviners, I was going Ornate, which is currency. And then if I didn't have them, which is very rare, then I was going for cartography ones for maps. But I can't remember actually having to put them on. I was pretty much always full of Diviners. When they weren't available, I was going Ornate. And you make a ton of currency. I must have had 700 to 800 stack decks, maybe even more. And they sell in bulk for like 85 for 1 Divine. So that was massive currency. You get a ton of loot out of the chests. I had 7 raw Divine drops over the course of all the maps because of all of the rare monsters that you kill in. You're opening loads of chests. You do end up getting a ton of currency. And I did have just as many exalted orbs, so it's sort of an even drop for those valuable currencies. Overall, it was really, really fun. Really enjoyed it. It's definitely a strategy I would do again. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do more of it. It is good, and selling the loot is pretty easy. I just might need a change of pace because the maps are quite long. I may go on to something like just a boss rushing, invitation rushing setup with all of the spare maps that I've got, but I'm not sure yet. So overall, we've made decent currency. In terms of hourly rate, I'm not sure because I was having so much loot coming in, going out. It's difficult to say. But I would say it's easily 5 divines plus an hour. It's super easy to sell everything. I've now got enough incubators to last me absolutely ages, which is really good. So I can just put them on when I do my next strategy, and it's just passive income. And a Headhunter just made this strategy super easy. I think I died 3 times, and that was to Flame Dash Ellie Reflect when I had so many buffs that even my Flame Dash was doing a ton of damage. I'm taking the increased effective node, so I was getting like 25% Ellie Reflect, and I died a couple of times to a Flame Dash, and then I died one more time where I thought I'd cleared the map. When I went back, the Legion boss was still doing his end animation, and he one-shot me. Other than that, it was pretty smooth. I think I ended the farm with about 75% XP on the way to 99. So then I just ran some 5 ways myself just to get myself to 99. I don't need to be there. I'm just a bit anal when it comes to that. So now I've got a 99 character as well, which is nice. So in terms of income per hour for the whole thing, we've moved up to about 4.5 to 4.75 divines an hour. So Legion was definitely the most profitable strategy that I've done. It was the most fun. Sorting your loot can be a bit of a pain. I've tried to change my filter to take certain incubators out, but it just won't work for some reason. So I've ended up with loads and loads of junk incubators that they won't sell. Can't really do anything with them. So they're just going to sit in the stash, essentially. And then in my stash here, I've got incubators that I want to use going forwards. Didn't have any massive notable drops to speak of. There was a couple of okay div cards, but nothing out of the ordinary. We had sort of, I would say, below average RNG in terms of drops, but it didn't matter because you get so much stuff out the chest in the incubators. Let's say I ended up with about 130 emblems combined between the two, and for 45 maps. So you do just get emblem after emblem when you're doing the strategy. The issue is obviously trying to get as many Marakath as you can because they're the rarest, and you're going to need them to sell your full set. So you're kind of limited in terms of selling on TFT to how many Marakath emblems you've got. However, I'm not left with a ton of value. At the end, I didn't have that many more Templars drop. So overall, I think I needed this strategy because it is fun. And I was getting, I wouldn't say burnt out, I was just getting a bit bored with strategies that I'd sort of done before. So I did wanted to do something different, and it definitely fit the bill, and it was really, really fun. So Magebloods is now sitting at about 285 divines, and I would think, including the Headhunter, we're at about 160, 150 to 160 divines. So we're more than halfway, which is good. However, we're 37 hours on the clock. So again, I want to make sure I keep that hourly rate as close to 4 to 5 as possible, because the sooner we can get the farm done, the sooner I can buy the belt. So hopefully by the end of the next episode, we've added sort of 20 to 30 divines would be really nice. That would then take us up to sort of 170, 180 divines. We're then getting within 100 divines for the belt, which sounds insane to say. But once you get to a certain point where you can see the end goal, it then motivates you a bit more to carry on and farm efficiently. That's the one thing I would say I struggle with as we go further and further through this series, is being efficient, like making sure I'm still running map after map after map. So I'm just deciding that if I feel like playing, I'm going to play. If I'm not, I'm not, because there's no point playing if I'm not going to be efficient and I'm not going to be in and out of maps, because it's just going to take much, much longer to get the currency that I need to buy the belt. If anyone's got any ideas for the next strategy, let me know, because I'm kind of all out of ideas. I have got a couple in mind that are quite high investment. I think they're going to do really well, but I'm not 100% sure the character, even with a Headhunter, is going to be able to do them. So I'm going to have a think about what I want to do. If I can't come up with anything, I'll probably just bum rush some invitations and bosses. Now, I may not even bring a video out for it because it is super, super boring, but it's a good way to make a lot of currency from maps that you've just got sitting around that you're never going to use. You just proc the invitation or the influence, you leave, you put another map in, you do the same. When you get to your 28th map, you do one that you can boss rush, you get the invitation. You'll pick a bit of loot up from shrines along the way. You could always incorporate the League mechanic into it as well if you wanted to. So that might be something that we could do, because again, League mechanic is good for raw divines. I just don't want to do it alongside another strategy. But if the strategy is just boss rush invitations and then doing the League mechanic, then that's absolutely fine. That's it for this episode. It's a fairly quick update, just because I really don't need to go over the strategy, because it's been covered in very, very good detail by Grimros, and he explains every kind of nuance to the strategy and how you make the most out of your currency. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching and tuning in. Take care, and see you in the next one.